Mendeecees has formally declared that loyalty, trust, and respect are non-negotiable, ended their marriage, and accused Yandy Smith of adultery. Mendeecees was already dealing with serious physical health problems, significant mental tiredness, and intense psychological pressure at the time of the abrupt breakup. Music. Unable to manage the emotional toll of his failing health and a broken marriage, Mendeecees recently broke down on stage during a live performance. As the adultery accusations emerged, Tamar added to the upheaval by subtly disparaging Mendeecees' right, rekindling long-standing personal grudges, past legal disputes, and marital strife. What was once hailed as one of the strongest couples on reality TV has totally disintegrated into a high-stakes, ugly public catastrophe. Mendeecees is enduring medical disease while confronting the complete devastation of his personal life. Major individuals from their history are intervening to twistedly celebrate the consequences, as Yandy is at the heart of widespread allegations of infidelity. The fundamental facts cannot be disputed. The union is no longer in effect. The implications of the public betrayal are disastrous. The relationship that had spent years presenting itself as an indestructible foundation was irreparably destroyed when Mendeecees revealed explicit adultery claims against Yandy Smith, sending shockwaves through the whole reality television industry. Watching their story unfold on television screens for more than 10 years, audiences saw them as a shining example of perseverance, music, collaborative business endeavors, and ingrained family values overcoming significant real-life challenges. But Mendeecees' abrupt statement absolutely upended that pre-existing narrative. Mendeecees did more than just allude to a brief split when he openly declared that Yandy had violated the fundamental principles of their marriage. By stating that trust, unwavering devotion, and basic respect were unavoidable criteria that had been flagrantly transgressed, he clearly drew a line in the sand. There was no space for calm mediation behind closed doors because of how direct these claims were, turning a private marriage breakdown into a high-stakes public conflict right away. The lengthy history between Mendeecees and Yandy, which has been extensively recorded over several seasons of well-known entertainment programming, is directly responsible for the severity of this fallout. The pair managed difficult court cases, lengthy prison terms, complicated family issues, and constant public criticism during their time in the public eye, always coming out together to project an air of complete unity. The abrupt charge of marital infidelity hit a particularly painful chord because their public persona was formed upon conquering great difficulties together. Both long-standing fans and music observers saw right away that this was not a scripted plot created for television analytics. However, there was a significant disruption in the interpersonal relationship that kept their combined brand cohesive. Everyone who followed the case was forced to reevaluate years of public comments and shared history through a completely different lens when Mendeecees came forward to proclaim that the fundamental boundaries of respect had been breached. As more information about the separation became available, attention soon turned to the precise moment and environment of the breakup. According to reports, internal tensions in the couple had been slowly rising due to demands from both personal and professional life even before the public declaration was made. The swift shift from private disagreement to public accusation left individuals in close proximity to the issue in a state of confusion when the statements appeared in the media. Mendeecees' unwavering insistence that loyalty be a deal-breaker highlighted the seriousness of the alleged betrayal, portraying the breakup as a direct result of broken commitments rather than a mutual decision to grow apart. This distinction was crucial in influencing early responses since the story instantly focused on the seriousness of the accusations and the irreparable harm done to a once-celebrated partnership. In addition, the announcement's immediate aftermath revealed the couple's personal infrastructure's serious weaknesses. Living under constant public scrutiny produces a special set of pressures where personal disputes are immediately exaggerated and scrutinized. The lack of trust meant that Mendeecees and Yandy had to immediately dismantle their large joint public presence as well as their personal haven. Private reconciliation was all but impossible due to the speed at which the accusations spread, trapping both parties in a public aftermath where every previous choice, joint enterprise, and historical interview was abruptly scrutinized in retrospect. The announcement's immediate shock set the tone for the entire affair, paving the way for a drawn-out and intricate disclosure of the underlying divisions that finally ended their long-term marriage. Music, in the end, this fallout's first chapter definitively ends an era for Yandy Smith and Mendeecees Harris. It was evident that the damage was fundamental and irreversible due to the explicit nature of the infidelity allegations and Mendeecees' unwavering position on loyalty and respect. Music. What started out as a well-known collaboration based on overcoming severe external adversity finally crumbled under internal charges of ultimate treachery. Music, leaving a path of shock, changed legacies, and a totally shattered dynamic in its immediate aftermath. As secondary figures entered the public conversation, most notably through Tamar Braxton's deliberate indirect actions, the marriage's breakdown grew increasingly more complicated. Tamar Braxton sent a string of well-planned, cryptic statements on social media almost immediately after Mendeecees Harris publicly accused her of cheating on Yandy Smith. Observers soon recognized these posts as direct criticism of Mendeecees' deteriorating circumstances. Trina's statement, which tapped into long-standing historical tension and unsolved frustrations within their common entertainment networks, was by no means coincidental. Instead of being sympathetic or keeping quiet about a private marital conflict, Trina's calculated reactions fueled the fire right away, transforming a traumatic personal breakdown into a growing, multifaceted public feud that dominated headlines and spread the scandal far beyond the main couple. Old rivalries, prior legal histories, and long-buried animosities were brought back to life by this deliberate foreign meddling. The overlapping circles of urban entertainment elites and reality TV stars have long carried silent grudges, with long-standing disputes often boiling just beneath the surface. When Tamar Braxton entered the arena during Mendeecees' most vulnerable moment, it immediately prompted veteran observers to reconsider the past baggage that connected these two people. The public immediately linked Trina's incisive indirect criticism to previous conflicts and changes in dynamics, considering her advice to be an intentional attempt to make amends. The resurgence of these long-standing personal grudges drastically changed the scope of the controversy, turning a simple tale of marital infidelity into a vast web of industry rivalries, small-time retaliation, and long-awaited payback. Even though Mendeecees was already pinned to the wall by the consequences of his failed marriage, the story started to take on a much darker tone as the external shade grew stronger, with observers and reviewers openly analyzing the idea of karma in action. Longtime Mendeecees and Yandy supporters saw the current disaster as the inevitable result of years spent negotiating moral ambiguities, public conflicts, and contentious lifestyle decisions. The furious social media criticism swiftly portrayed the entire incident as a full-scale crash, claiming that Mendeecees' current public humiliation was a direct result of his prior acts catching up to him. To create a thorough argument that this demise was long overdue, every previously recorded video, interview comment, and court case was brought back into the spotlight. An already dire circumstance was made even more stressful by the psychological burden of having one's own misfortune presented as justified karmic punishment, entangling the participants in an ongoing cycle of public criticism. Mendeecees was facing complete personal annihilation while in a seriously weakened physical and emotional state, which added to the turmoil of the public feud and the unrelenting assertions of karma. Mendeecees was privately facing serious continuing physical health issues, intense emotional strain, and overwhelming personal pressure even before the explicit cheating charges were made public. Stability, relaxation, and stress-free surroundings are essential for managing long-term health problems. The moment his marriage broke down due to accusations of ultimate betrayal, such conditions became completely unfeasible. He experienced a perilous double crisis, where the emotional stress of the breakup immediately exacerbated his physical problems, leaving him exhausted and vulnerable on all fronts due to the enormous need to maintain a brave face while his health was deteriorating. For Mendeecees, This unstable mix of physical ailment, extreme mental tiredness, and public humiliation produced an unparalleled pressure cooker. Music. He was pushed to his absolute limits trying to handle major medical issues while also defending his character, coping with Tamar Braxton's intentional shade, and digesting the total loss of his main support system. The brutality of living under continual public scrutiny was brought to light by the terrible reality of going through a serious physical decline as your personal life is methodically decimated in front of millions. Rather than being given room to recover physically or deal with the betrayal on an emotional level, Mendeecees was encircled by animosity, constant surveillance, and hostile outside opinion, which transformed his own battle for health into a desperate attempt to survive in the middle of overwhelming turmoil. During a recent, widely reported live performance, the terrible confluence of physical infirmity, unquestionable marital betrayal, and unrelenting public mocking reached a breaking point. The stage abruptly changed into an inevitable mirror, reflecting his complete internal collapse for a man whose entire reputation was based on stoicism, strength, and portraying an impenetrable facade. Mendeecees broke down in front of a live audience in an emotional, unplanned moment that undermined decades of meticulously controlled media training. The emotional burden of dealing with his failing health and the complete breakdown of his marriage was too much for him to bear. His onstage vulnerability served as a dramatic, indisputable indication of the tremendous psychological pain he was actively experiencing, and he was no longer able to conceal the deep anguish of betrayal. This was not a staged moment on television. It was the unadulterated, raw breaking point of a guy who had reached his limit. Yandy Smith was stuck at the center of a huge, unresolvable issue over her own fidelity, while Mendeecees publicly collapsed under the crushing weight of physical and emotional exhaustion. The multi-million-dollar empire they had built together was effectively destroyed by the stunning cheating claims. Over the course of 4 years, Yandy had skillfully constructed an image of the passionately devoted ride-or-die matriarch who upheld the family structure despite public scandals and incarcerations. She must now confront the harsh truth of being the purported mastermind of their final demise after being deprived of that shielding myth. The reality of treachery has irrevocably tainted the cooperative business endeavors, the rich television contracts, and the meticulously crafted family brand. Her long-standing public persona was totally destroyed by the accusations, and she was forced to face the fact that the same loyalty she advocated was the precise line she was accused of breaching. The consequences of this disastrous split go far beyond a straightforward legal separation and could lead to a highly damaging uncoupling procedure that would destroy their combined assets. The separation of life, property, and business that results from an absolute trust-based partnership collapsing due to adultery is brutal. Mendeecees' delineation of a clear boundary between loyalty and respect ensures that this split will not be peaceful. The violent truth of their fallout has now tarnished every joint property, every shared contract, and every televised appearance. Music. There is no place for mediation or behind-the-scenes damage control as the financial and legal entanglements of a decade-long union are about to be ruthlessly unraveled in the public glare. The same people who once supported their prosperity will watch the ruins of the collapsing empire on television. The unavoidable fact that the entertainment business acts mercilessly and greedily consumes personal misery for public spectacle only serves to heighten the severity of this breakdown. Peripheral characters like Tamar Braxton took advantage of the destruction to settle old grudges as Mendeecees remained vulnerable on stage, struggling with his deteriorating body and a wounded heart. There is no safe haven for healing because of how harsh this environment is. The breakdown of this marriage has been made into a spectator event where both longtime rivals and former allies come forward to twist the knife, rather than being given the decency of suffering in solitude. Mendeecees is discovering firsthand that in the world of high-stakes reality TV, personal devastation is valued as quality content and vulnerability is quickly turned into a weapon. In the end, Mendeecees Harris and Yandy Smith's disastrous marriage is regarded as one of the most terrible demises in the history of entertainment. A legacy has been completely destroyed as a result of what started out as a strong assertion of non-negotiable boundaries. Music. Any possibility of redemption has been irrevocably blocked due to the specific charges of infidelity, the dramatic decline in physical health, the targeted industry shading, and the devastating live collapse. The final boundaries have been established. The consequences will irrevocably change the course of their life, and the treachery has been ingrained in the public record, music. A fracture this deep cannot be repaired. All that remains is the harsh reality of surviving in a totally wrecked world. Based only on publicly accessible data and social media trends, this channel offers pop culture commentary, public news summaries, and entertainment analysis. The subjects and accusations covered in this film are representative of web reports, public opinion, general media commentary, music, and continuous conversations about prominent individuals. This content is created solely for entertainment, public opinion, and general remark. It is not designed to target or disparage anyone's private life, integrity, or real-world character, nor is it meant to be a personal assault on any of the people listed. We would want to know what you think about this developing issue. What do you think about the latest developments with Mendeecees Yandy and the public remarks made by others such as Tamar? Do you believe that online rumors and public pressure are changing people's perceptions of these events, or is this just a fact of being in the public eye? Participate in the conversation by leaving your opinions in the space provided for comments below. Please remember to give this video a thumbs up, share it with others, and subscribe to the channel if you thought this breakdown was interesting and educational. Remember to click the notification bell so you don't miss any more news commentary or entertainment updates. We appreciate your viewing and hope to see you in the future.